it's a fairly large group. People who are sitting at the end, are you able to see me? Yes. Good. Now, hearing you will be able to do because I am using the microphone, don't worry. Right. Now, because the time at our disposal is quite short, let me not go into any other details, but just to straight jump into what I have been asked to talk to. Professor Raghavarao and Dr. Sharda allowed me the luxury of picking up the theme I wanted to discuss with you. I took a look at your schedule for the program that you are attending, and then I asked myself this question: at the end of this 10-day program, or at the end of some days, what is that people would like to become? Then it struck to me that after all, the purpose why we are all here is that we would like to become as good teachers as possible, because we have all become teachers. Whether we like it or not, we are teachers. Correct? Some of us may not have wanted to become teachers, we have become teachers. Some of us, it has been our karma to become teachers. It is all right. I mean, we can't help it. So, having become a teacher, whether you like it or not, ultimately what do you want to do? You want to become as good a person as possible. In fact, in life, every person, whether he likes the work he is doing or not, would like to do that work in as good a measure as possible. Even a thief wants to be a good thief. The word good to him means different than the word good means to you. Now, this is where we talk in terms of the quality. We are interested in quality. I want to be a quality teacher. I want to be a good teacher. What are the other equivalents for quality teacher? I want to be an effective teacher. I want to be a successful teacher. Now, one question that comes to all of us here: how can I become a quality teacher? How can I become a good teacher? How do I become a successful teacher? Is there an inventory? Suppose there is an inventory, then I keep on ticking the characteristics I have. Do we have such an inventory as that? That is a question which comes up. Now, at the end of the year, when somebody does an evaluation of you, your students, your management, your head, your whoever it is, suppose they say, no, you did not do your teaching properly. Then you will ask this question: I went to the class, I was reading the subject, I taught them, what else can I do? What was wrong with me? So these are the questions that come up. So I thought I will focus my attention only on talking to you about the qualities of a good teacher. And these qualities, fine. Now, one important thing that we need to look at is, let us try to understand what is meant by quality teaching. At least do you know what is meant by teaching? What is teaching? Imparting knowledge, good. Then? What is teaching? Sharing of information. Anybody? Giving explanation. Anybody? Imparting good habits to students. And values, good. Anybody else?
Simplifying the concept.
Simplify the concept, good. Then? Methodology of learning, okay. Anybody else? Do's and don'ts of life. Okay, see, if I ask you this question, what is meant by teaching, you look at the many definitions that I get. One, it is simplifying information. Another person says, imparting knowledge to the students. A third person says, imparting attitudes and values to students. A fourth person says, telling them the do's and don'ts of life. Ultimately, in the process of teaching learning, who is the product? For whom do you all work? You sure? We are all working for the sake of students. You are not working for your vice chancellor. You are not working for your principal. You are not working for your professor. You are not working for your head of the department. You are working for your students. So, if the student is happy with you, you are a good teacher. Correct? Why am I saying that? Today we all believe in what is called customer satisfaction. Your chairman is not your customer. He may be only paying you money by virtue of salary. But the person to be satisfied is the student. Therefore, in the student, we want to provide him learning. Why should student want to learn? A student wants to learn because he wants to grow, because he wants to develop. Now, I understand there are large number of you who are MTechs from IITs and NITs. Now tell me, why did you want to get a MTech degree from an IIT? Why did you want to get an MTech degree from an NIT? Because you want to grow, you want to improve. Why do you want that qualification? Qualification helps you grow, helps you develop. See, please note, money is not the only criteria for you to get the degree. Because if money was a big criteria, I would say go and work as a auto driver in Bangalore or a cab driver in Mumbai. You will earn more money than professors of this college. But money is not the criteria there. You wanted to acquire that higher degree because you wanted to grow, you wanted to develop. So every individual, we want to grow. I want to grow. For example, as she was saying, I became an assistant professor and I wanted to grow. I became a professor. I wanted to further grow. I became the director of the institution. I wanted to further grow. I started as a head in one of the Indo-Canadian projects. I wanted to grow. Therefore, I went to England and I started teaching in the University of London. Now, all these things I did not just because of money, but because I want to grow. Similarly, your students also want to grow. In order to make them grow, you must give them experiences. The word experience is not trying to tell them a story. You must give them learning experience. Those learning experiences, that is why you are teaching them English, you are teaching them mechanical engineering, you are teaching them civil engineering, you are teaching them computer engineering, you are teaching them electronics engineering. Those are the types of experiences. Now, these experiences that you give, what is the experience? The knowledge that you are giving in these subjects, the skill you are giving in these subjects, they make the student productive. In fact, if they do not get the knowledge and the skill, will they get employed? Will they get employed? No. If they don't get employed, they cannot become productive. So, quality teaching is trying to provide those activities which promotes their productivity. Then I thought I will also give a couple of examples of experiences. What are those experiences we give? Change in outlook, change in attitude, that's what she was trying to say. In fact, when students come to the college, they come to an engineering college, they come to an engineering university like Vignan, or they go to a college like Lara, not only to get information and knowledge in the subject, they also come here to become good human beings. One of the purposes of education is they must all become good human beings. Who is a good human being? A human being is good when he or she displays the right attitude, displays a positive attitude. I have values in my life. I am a disciplined individual. I know how to behave with everybody here. For example, I must know how to behave with them. I must know how to behave with you. When I go to your chairman, I must know how to behave with him. When I go to your registrar, I must know how this word behavior has lot of meaning. I must know how to communicate with the chairman. I must know how to communicate with the registrar. I must know how to communicate with this young teacher. So all these are experiences. Then it also helps in an intellectual growth. Then what does quality teaching do? Suppose your teaching is quality. For example, the past 3-4 days I think you have been attending a program here every afternoon. Now you must have had a first session and then that micro presentation. Now out of these two, or as a result of these two, something could have happened in you. What is that something? You might have said, "Yo, why did they come here?" I say. I have wasted my time. Or you might have said, "I have not gained anything." So when you go and attend a program, when you go and read a newspaper, when you go and see a film, when you go and see a cricket match, when you go and arrange a marriage party, there is an impact of these on you. There is an influence of these on you. The influence could be positive, the influence could be negative. Similarly, when you go to a textile showroom to buy your sari or your chudidar, there is an impact, the ambience. Now you may want to come back, you may not want to buy. Now what will quality do? Quality learning, quality teaching will establish a sort of positive learning environment. Now, I don't know if you understand the meaning of the word positive learning environment. What I mean by the word positive learning environment is, you must come to my class even if there is no attendance. Suppose tomorrow you go back to your college and make an announcement. We are not going to take any attendance in the college here afterwards. Everybody will get 100% attendance. Those of you who want to come to the class, please come. Those of you who do not want to come to the class, please don't come. And if you don't come, we are not going to ask you any question. No disciplinary action will be taken. Now see how many people come to your class. So, if you have a positive learning environment, students want to come to the class. In fact, I remember we had a physics teacher who used to have a class at 6 o'clock in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning in December in Mysore. Here you don't know what is meant by a chill weather, because every day it is hot, hotter, hottest. There you do not know how it is. At 6 o'clock in the morning, we all used to be present in the class, both boys and girls. Positive learning environment. That is an environment which tries to motivate your learners. You know, you must know this. Some classes, when you are doing your BTech or MTech or BE or ME, there were some classes you never wanted to miss. Even if you did not have your lunch and the time was up, you would run to the class. Because there was something that was happening in the class which was useful to you. The teacher was motivating you. You need to provide challenges to the learners. What are the challenges? You see, when you are sitting here, for the next 1 hour, you must have a feeling. I say, we must hear what Barki is saying. Let us see what he is saying. Let us judge what he is saying. Let us see what can be used by us. So that type of a challenge should be created. Students' responses, etc. Because of time I will not be able to go through it. Now, what are the indicators of quality teaching? For example, suppose I ask you, how good a teacher you are. Sir, I am an excellent teacher. What is the proof? Sir, I have taken all the classes. Taking all the classes is no proof. Now, some of the indicators are, I will ask you this question, what are the learning materials that you have made use of? What are the books that you have referred to? What are the journals you have referred to? How many times you have used the video clippings available in NPTEL or YouTube or whatever it is. So, the choice of the learning materials is an indication of the quality. How do I organize the content? I do not know if anybody has talked to you about organization of the content. Content is the lesson that you deliver every day. And that content must be organized in a sequential manner, in a logical manner. Now, how well have you done it? That's also an indication. Have you developed effective communication skills in students? Can students, in fact, today I was talking to your new registrar. He was trying to tell me, sir, I was sitting in an interview some time ago. When the people came, when the students came, they said they have got 9.0 GPA, 8.9, 8.5. The grade point average is very, very high. But then when I asked them to tell 2 sentences about them, they were not able to say anything. They were not able to tell me anything. He was talking of what? The communication skill. You must have that ability to communicate. What is the meaning of the word communication skill? For example, I am now talking to you. Talking is not just communication. Talking correctly also is not communication. Communication is not grammatically correctly speaking. When I am communicating to you, what I am trying to say must have an influence on you. It must appeal to you. Now, when it appeals to you, when you become interested in it, what do? Either you will take whatever I am saying or you will throw away whatever I am saying. See, there is nothing wrong if you don't agree with whatever I am saying. But if I have communicated properly, it will enable you to think and throw it out. Effective communication. People to a large extent think that communication is only speaking. That is what they talk of oral communication. Speaking alone is not communication. Communication is an ability to convey to you what I want to convey. What I want to convey. So quality teaching, knowledge of the content, how good you are in the content. You see, when your content, I will come back to this content later also. If your content is very good, if you are a master of the content, you have no fear of teaching at all. You know, many people keep on telling you, I don't know whether you have experiences, some of you are nervous to go to the class. Correct? Nervousness is there. Why is this nervousness there? Nervousness is because you are not confident of the content. Sometimes you are teaching and the head of the department comes in. You become nervous. Nervousness does not mean that you will begin to do this. Words don't flow easily. When you begin to write on the board, you make lots of mistakes. Why does that nervousness come in? It happens because of the content mastery. And if you are a good teacher, if your teaching is a quality teaching, you are available to the students always. What is the meaning of the word available to the student? Suppose the student comes and tells me, sir, let us go for a cup of coffee. Is that the availability I am talking of? You are available to the students to clarify their issues, their doubts any time. In the classroom, outside the classroom, during the college, out of the college. And please note, you will always tell them, no, whenever you want, you have a doubt, you can come and meet me. How many students come to you? How many? You are traveling in the same bus along with the student in the college bus. Till you get down, a student will not seek a clarification from you. Why does it happen? It happens because the student does not have the confidence to talk with you. The student does not have the confidence to talk to you. The student does not believe that you will give a good solution to the problem of the student. And therefore, availability to learners means that when will a student come to me? A student comes to me if I am pleasant. A student comes to, suppose I am always harsh looking. Suppose I am a person who is always shouting at you. Suppose I am a person who will always scold you. Whether you do right or wrong, I will always scold you. Will anybody come to me? If you behave like this at your home, your wife will not care for you, your husband will not care for you. Correct? No. Will students care for you? Now, therefore, one of the important qualities that we must all acquire is that pleasantness. A teacher must be somebody who is easily approachable. Who is easily approachable. Now, quite often you find students hesitate to go to the professor. They think that a professor is unapproachable. A professor, a dean, a director, a principal, this thing, these are all designations. These are all designations, that's all. But all of you are human beings, don't forget that. So, if you are pleasant to them, and further, you come to me to talk to me when you think that I am prepared to listen to you. Now, if I am not prepared to listen to you, why will you talk to me? That is another quality which we need to. Finally, we must be responsive to the concerns of the learners and their views also. Okay. Now, if those are the indicators of the quality of teaching, what did I start by? I started by talking in terms of what is meant by a quality teacher. In very simple terminology, you use the word quality teaching, good teaching, effective teaching, successful teaching, all mean one and the same. Who is a good teacher? A good teacher is one who influences the students. A good teacher is one who makes the students learn. A good teacher is, an effective teacher is one who helps the student grow. This is all the meaning of the word quality teaching. This is all the meaning of the word good teaching. I am not a good teacher because I have made you get 98%. I am not a good teacher because my result is 99%. If I get 99% and all of you are jobless, what type of a teacher I am? So, a good teacher is one, an effective, good, effective, successful, the same word. A good teacher is one, an effective teacher is one, a successful teacher is one who is able to influence the student. When can I influence you? I influence you by helping you to learn. When I influence you, you get motivated. You get motivated. In fact, if I look at my own personal life, after I did my masters in mathematics, I did not want to become a teacher. In fact, I could have got a job then in the Indian Oil Corporation. If I had joined the Indian Oil Corporation, then I got a job in IOC. If I had taken an IOC job, by the time I retired, I would have become the chairman of IOC of this country. But then, it was a teacher of mine who influenced me, and seeing him, I thought I will take up the teaching position. And I am quite happy with it. I am quite satisfied with it. So as a teacher, Please note one thing, friends. Most of you are young. Students don't come to the college only to learn the subject. See, your civil engineering, your mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, whatever subject you are teaching, they don't come to the college only to learn that. In fact, they can learn all these subjects even without your teaching. But they come to the college so that they can be influenced by you. That is why I liked what she said when she was talking in terms of the attitudes and the values. I must influence you. Now when I go away after 1 hour from here, you must say, we like something in Berkeley, say. Not that Berkeley is most beautiful or very badly looking, it is not that. But you must say, something influenced me. When you influence the student will remember you forever. And if that can happen, then you are a quality teacher. Now, leave all things aside. Suppose we ask for a quality teacher. To an ordinary person, a quality is decided by the pass percentage. I think in an institution of this nature, that is most important. You get 90%, next year you are not here. Because at the end of the year, when the results come, the first question your professor will ask, your management will ask, your chairman will ask, your vice chancellor will ask is, what is the percentage pass? I am not trying to say it is right or it is wrong, but that is one indicator. Whether I believe in that indicator or not, I leave it to you people. So, student pass percentage. Now then, if you go to higher institutions, for example, many of you have come from IIT. In IIT, have you ever heard of a professor talking of the pass percentage? Did you hear Dr. Ramurthy of IIT Madras, or earlier Dr. Natarajan as the director, or Professor Anant as the director of IIT talking in terms of the pass percentage? No. They even don't tell you we had 120 students, 140 students, 160 students. That is not their quality at all. They look at quality in terms of the PhD that is produced. You talk to a very professor in IIT. And suppose you went and talked to Junjunwala, who was with IIT, this thing as computer science professor, he is not there anymore. He would say, there are 14 of my students who are working in the area of artificial intelligence. So there the word quality stands for the PhDs that are produced. You come to your departments. People talk in terms of the projects that are undertaken. So this year we got 10 lakh worth project. The last year it was 10 lakh worth project. This year it is 12 lakh. Next year it is 13 lakh. So people begin to look at quality in terms of the projects. And suppose you go to your chairman, you go to your vice chancellor and ask him, sir, you are working in this institution. When do we say that you are a quality individual? He talks in terms of improving the image of the institution. So different people have different connotations of quality. That is why, friends, one thing you must all do, I think, is how many of you are starting the teaching profession for the first time? Hands up. Oh, large number of you, very good. Now, right today, having become a teacher, you should not think in terms of image building, you should not think in terms of PhDs produced, you should not think in terms of the project you are doing. What are you basically? You are basically a teacher today. Therefore, for the first 2 years, look at quality from view of how you are going to teach in the classroom. Teaching should be your focus. Teaching should be your focus. Again, as I said earlier, whether you teach or not, students will pass, don't worry. In fact, some students tell you, ma'am, we fail if you teach. We fail if you teach. So don't worry about passing. But on the other hand, many of you who are young here, with no experience of teaching at all, must say, okay, by next year, for at least half of the topics that I am teaching, I will develop some digital medium. Make a decision. Start with that. So we must have our own benchmark for quality. We must have our own benchmark for quality. Now when you are looking at the benchmark for quality in terms of numbers, then you will never reach quality. Now there is one big problem about these numbers. People say you must get 90%. Last year I got 87. Now this time I got 90%. What do? I will do everything possible to get that 90%. I will also close the door and dictate the answer also. You cannot blame me. Or instead of teaching in the class, I will only teach question answer. 4 years question paper I will bring to the class and give or like residential schools in Andhra Pradesh, where memorization, you are all masters of memorization. I will only ask you to memorize things. So, you must have a benchmark. Let not that benchmark be in terms of the numbers only. Let not that benchmark be in terms of the number only. If you want, I can give a very silly example. You go to a restaurant, you go to a hotel, would you be happy eating 7 bondas and at the end not being happy, or would you want to eat 1 bonda and remember that forever? It is not the number that becomes important. So have a benchmark. And if you have a benchmark, you are able to achieve that benchmark. So all that I am trying to say is, please set up your own benchmark for quality. Your own benchmark for quality. If you only set your benchmark for quality, then you can rise in your profession, then you can grow in your profession. Please note one thing, friends. Never do any work, including teaching, to satisfy somebody. You do whatever you want to satisfy yourself. Your satisfaction becomes important. See, when you are satisfied, automatically you will be doing quality work. Today what is happening? You work because somebody is asking you to do it. Therefore, you are doing a work very reluctantly. Is it not true if you are attending this training program also? Every day you are coming at 2 o'clock, 2:30. Morning you go to your college, you go to your class, finish your teaching, eat half meal and then rush. And then come here and begin to curse everybody. Is it happening or not? It is happening. Why is it happening? Because the activity is thrust by somebody. Somebody has thrust the activity. But please don't do it. Do it to get. In fact, you ask Suresh, who is sitting there. I had a talk with somebody here till 1:50. They said 2:50 I must come back. You ask him how quickly I had my lunch and came back. Now, although they were saying, sir, you can go 10 minutes late. Now, I am doing a work not to please him or not to please him or not to please him, but to please myself. What is that pleasing myself? I please myself when all of you who are sitting here are satisfied with what I am doing. So work for yourself, not for anybody else. That must be you have your satisfaction. Okay. Now with this basic information, now comes the critical question. Okay, we have understood now what is quality teaching. Now, what are those characteristics that I must have? That is why I started by raising this question. We have become teachers, we do not know why. I do not know how many of you know why you became a teacher. To some, you became a teacher because you had no choice. To some, you became a teacher because you did not want to go to Hyderabad and Mumbai and Bombay and Bangalore and Chennai to take up any work. Family compulsions, environmental compulsions. To some, we applied for another job in a company. Apply, there was no reply. So this college selected us and therefore we came here. Correct? It has also happened. We need not have to be shy for all these things. So we have come here, very few people, because you love the profession. Very few people. Yeah, out of the 70 people, I don't know, there could be one or two. Today if I ask you, do you like the teaching profession? She will say, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Everybody will say, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir. Everybody will tell us the false thing only or untrue only. It's all right, because you're sitting here in the classroom, and particularly when this man is recording, you can't say, I don't like the profession. So 1% people, 1% or 2 people, you have come here because you love the profession. But with other 68, there are extraneous reasons which has brought us here. There are extraneous reasons. Some people, you become teacher because you think that teaching is easy. You become teacher because you think that your work is 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock or 8 to 3:30. So there are a number of reasons. It is all right. Whatever is the reason for which we have become a teacher, right or wrong, we have become teachers. Can you now escape? Can you escape? It is like this. You are married. Can you escape? Divorce is not easy. Please think, please note it. You can't escape. Now when you can't escape, what do you want to do? You make the best of the married life. What is the meaning of the word best? Make use of the best of the married life. Try to become as happy as possible. The happiness, please note, is only because of me, is not because of anybody. You can't make me happy. But suppose she comes and tells me, sir, Barkis's lesson, we like her very much, and for another 15 minutes she begins to give a lecture. For that half a minute I will smile, and thereafter I don't think I will be happy. So even when it is a married life, we have to make the best of the worst situation in which we are placed today. So all of us having become teachers, we want to become as good teachers as possible. Correct? We want to become as good teachers as possible. How can we become that? Shall I go and stand before Goddess Saraswati every day and pray, O Devi, give me happiness, give me peace, give me satisfaction? Can I do that? Or shall I go to Suresh and tell him, sir, can you get me some tablets? I will eat those tablets. That will make me a quality teacher, or that will make me a good teacher? No, it is not that. So I will only put up to you some of the qualities of a good teacher. Before I put up the qualities of a good teacher, let me ask you a simple question. From class 1 up to your M.Tech, B.Tech, B.E., M.E., you have all been taught by hundreds and hundreds of teachers. Agreed? Now today, suppose I ask you to remember one teacher. Is it possible for you to remember him or her? Can you remember? I don't want the name, don't worry. You may have forgotten the name also. But can you remember one teacher who has taught you? Okay. Now why do we remember the teacher? Why do we remember him or her? Huh? Why? See, you don't remember a teacher because he was beautifully dressed. You don't remember a teacher because he was very handsome but like Barky. You don't remember something because of some other reason. You remember him or her because you thought that he or she was a good person. He or she was a good teacher. Now what I want you to do is, in a sheet of paper, I hope you have all papers with you, write one thing that you liked about that teacher. Just one point that you liked about the teacher. Quick.
For all the levels of students.
Making understanding to all levels of students good. Anybody?
Being unbiased with the person who can.
See, being unbiased with the students, very good. Anybody? Huh? He was a patient or he had patience? Okay, a teacher who was very patient and he had a lot of patience. Okay, good. Then? Anybody else? One minute. He was giving you punishment. Good. Somebody was saying. He was, no, why was he applauded? Okay, right? He was a unique individual, we'll put it that. Anybody else? Clarity and confidence of the subject, good. Anybody else? Huh? Creating interest in the subject, good. Then? Huh? He was somebody who was always smiling on the face, good. Then? Huh? Here was one who was always naughty, committing all sorts of mistakes, and the teacher ignored it. Anyway, good. Ignored the mistakes of the students. Then he loved. See, what did you love say? All these things that you are saying, all the points that you said are supposed to be the characteristics of a good teacher. We remember a teacher because we think he was a good teacher. See, you don't remember because he was handsome, please note. You don't remember because she was handsome, please note. You don't remember because the teacher was attractive, please, nobody said that. But what were the answers? The teacher had passion. The teacher was unbiased. The teacher was simple in explanation. The teacher taught us lessons of life. The teacher did this. These are the qualities of a good teacher. But if I had time, I would have done another exercise and then come out with a whole list of characteristics. Now, I will only put before you 3 categories of areas which help you to understand the qualities of a good teacher. The 3 areas are, one is content mastery. In fact, all the points that you have said, you will see it now. The second is his personality, and the third is his competency. Now let us take each one of them and elaborate, and then you will understand what are the qualities. Please look at your students, or look at yourselves. There are 2 teachers. One, a teacher who knows the content very thoroughly. Another teacher who knows the content, but it's okay. Between the 2, from whom do you want to learn? You want to learn from somebody who is thorough in his content. Now, we take pride in saying that my professor was this. In fact, I was a student of Dr. K. Venkatachalayyangar, one of the greatest mathematicians of this country, who was the only one who could solve Ramanujan's equations. I take pride in saying that I was Venkatachalayyangar's student. But of course I did not learn anything from him. That's a later question. I will also tell you why. But then we want to be called students of great teachers. Who is a great teacher? A great teacher is one, not because, see, I have seen people who have got PhD, 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 PhD. It is not so many PhDs that become important. What is your content mastery? So, students would love to be, students would love your teaching if your content is, one requirement of a teacher is content mastery. Now, please do not think that you go to the class and tell anything, students will believe you. The students may not know the subject that you are teaching, but from the way you teach the subject, they will know whether you know the content or not, right? Have you not done it when you were students? Did you not say, this teacher does not know anything? You did not know the subject, but still you made a judgment about the students have that ability. Now, where do you get that content mastery from? The content mastery you get from your education. What is education? Your ME, your MTech, your BE, your BTech. That is why when you go to a class, people introduce themselves. Suppose you have got a PhD. The teacher will walk straight to the class and he says, I am Barki, I have got a PhD from IIT Chennai. Are you like this? If I have got an MTech, I am Barki with an MTech. If I have only a BA, Barki BA. Now this is how, because the content gives us a sort of status, very, very important. Friends, those of you who want to continue to work in the teaching profession, in fact, I am the last person to tell anybody that you have become a teacher, you must die as a teacher. No. I mean, you have to decide how you want to grow. But those of you who want to work as a teacher forever, if you do not have a PhD, acquire it. PhD getting is not for you to get that scholarship and increment, but then it gives the status in the eyes of the student. Those of you who are only BEs, I don't think there are any BEs here, but if still there are one or two, please try to get that ME or MTech. You know the reason I am saying? Not because of the promotion, not because of the increment, but because a student will look at you differently. Secondly, your content mastery comes from updating. For example, how do you know that I have got the content mastery? You will judge my knowledge of the content mastery by the examples I give, by the stories I tell, by the way I relate my content. Now, how do I do that? For example, if I were to continue our session tomorrow, day after, I will not do it, don't worry, you should not be afraid. I would have brought in number of examples from Glasgow Olympics. I would have told you what happened to the Indian cricket team in the last test match. Or I would have talked to you about the football matches that were held in Brazil. I would have certainly talked about your Andhra and Telangana. Now, when I do that, when I relate my subject with the content, then you realize that I am a person with some knowledge, updating. And what is this updating? Updating comes by constant reading. Updating comes by constant touch with the material. In fact, one of the things I don't see in teachers, Dr. Suresh, it is for you to note, is most of the teachers I have seen, they don't read any English newspaper except the Sakshis and the Andhra Jyotis and Andhra Prabha. No, Sakshi, Andhra Jyoti, Andhra Prabha, they are all good, giving you very, very local information. But your knowledge will grow. Why I am talking of an English paper like a Hindu or a Times or a Chronicle or an Indian Express or a Hindustan Times is, you will know how to analyze the things there. Now, when you read those papers and come and talk to the student, your knowledge is updated. Now, for example, I know there is a big mess that is happening in this particular state in respect of the State Council for Higher Education. Telangana wants to have its own State Council for Higher Education. Now, why am I interested in it? I am not a Telanganite, I am not an Andhra, but why am I interested? The news I will have to carry in order to be able to updating. And more important than that, what is happening to technology? The growth of technology is very fast. Today you have 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. In fact, every students today will have a 4G technology mobile. Now you are teaching mobile technology. Your topic is cloud technology. A student will ask, Miss, 4G technology is this, what do you think will be 5G? 2G, I don't know. 3G you are talking. Now, if you begin to talk like that, what is going to happen? So, technology is growing very fast. And the students today have greater access to internet than you. Correct? For example, when you are teaching your students, suppose you use your mobile to send an SMS to your student asking them to come to the class tomorrow prepared with a particular topic, you know the impact that it creates on the student? Because you are using an available technology. This technology none of you are using. So, updating becomes important. You have got to read the latest books. You have to got to read the. But you see, if you only read the textbook, nothing will happen, Amma. If you read, see, a student also reads the textbook, you also read the textbook. What is big and great about it? Content mastery is so very important. Without content mastery, nothing is possible. Then, what about your personality? Second important quality is your personality. See, when you come to a class, you know, when students come to the class, the first thing that attracts them or distracts them is the teacher. If I walk into the class like this, I am already dead, and now I will take the attendance. Rama, Soman. Now, if I begin to talk like that in the, what is my personality there? Where is the josh in that personality? Where is that enthusiasm? You see, at this stage I am enthusiastic. I think I am elderly to all of you present here. But I am still into, somebody talked of passion, you see. Now when you have got that passion, some people will say, sir, you know what do I do, sir? 3 o'clock, afternoon class, chala bore avutundi, sir. It becomes very boring. 3 o'clock or morning 8 o'clock class, you can't say you are getting bored. Have you seen a reader telling you at 10:30 p.m., sir, I am tired, please don't look at me, please turn away. At 10:30 the girl comes so fresh. Have you seen the newsreader? Either a man or a lady, she is so fresh. Why? Don't they know it is 10:30? There is a reason, sir. There is a psychology. What is the psychology? Human beings, we always want to see a pleasant person. You go to your head of the department, the head of the department is always like this. Will you ever want to see him? Even if he calls you, you don't want to go. No, that psychology tells you that you must be a pleasant individual. Personality. Personality does not mean this. It is not that you must be 6 feet. See, after all, if I am 4 feet to 2 inches tall, what can I do? I have to only blame God. It is not that I am talking of. It is the way I look. It is the way I carry myself. It is the way I carry myself. It is the way I make myself observable by me. If you begin, you see, when I am talking to you, if my personality is such that you are all seeing me, I have got your attention. And for learning, what is important? Attention. Without attention, you can't learn. If I am talking in a manner that you sleep, then what happens to the attention? This is where, ladies and gentlemen, your physical appearance is also critical. Never go to the class looking tired. Never go to the class looking tired. If you want, I will tell you a secret. Keep a makeup kit. Nothing wrong with it. Keep a makeup kit. Every time you go to the class, wash your face, then go fresh. Because a fresh teacher, it will help you, it will also help your students. Number 2, when it comes to physical appearance, see, you please do not forget the fact that your students are 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Correct? You know what is that age? You have all undergone that. If I ask the gentlemen who are sitting here, what did you notice when a lady teacher was teaching you? What sari she was wearing? What perfume she had put? How high the heels are? Correct? Now, what were these ladies doing? Whether the teacher was wearing a bell-bottom pant or how did he insert his pant? Whether the belt was coming to the backside or it was only closing here. Correct? This is what we see. Whether he was coming to the class properly combed or not. Why do we see that? Because at that age, that is how all of us behave. You are not exception. You have done it. Have you not given nicknames to your teachers? Don't say you have not given it. Today when boys and girls give nicknames, we become angry with them. So at that age, that is what happens. We all do that. In fact, I tell you my own story. I don't know whether I told this story anywhere. I had a teacher, mathematics teacher, M.N. Rajalakshmi. She passed away very recently in Bangalore. When I was studying in Mysore, she had long hair from here to here. Now you don't have hair at all, don't worry. We used to call her Nagavini. Nagavini, you know? Naga is Sarpa, snake, and because of the tail, it was long. And when she was walking, she was doing the mathematics teaching for us. She used to write mathematics, you know, we have to work problems. Kada. From one side she was moving to this side, from this side she was moving there. And we were all calculating the period of the pendulum. Because as she was moving from here, the pendulum was swinging this side, that side, this side, this side, this side, this side. And instead of learning the equation to a parabola or the equation to the tangent for a hyperbola, we were all calculating the period of the pendulum. She was an excellent teacher, I tell you, really excellent teacher. But what did we learn? You see, don't think the girls are good. They are silently more mischievous than the boys. Okay. Like they were also doing it. Now the point is, what can the poor teacher do, tell me? In fact, I used to meet this lady after I went to Chennai. I said she was a lovely teacher, she was an excellent teacher, very pleasant. And after she left Mysore, she came down to Bangalore. She resigned the job at Mysore and came down to Bangalore, started working in a college. And because of the fact that she was my teacher, I used to go and see her. After I joined the NITTTR at Chennai, one day I told her, Madam, if you don't mistake me, let me tell you something. Then I said, Madam, what is the period of the pendulum now? She said, what are you asking? I said, then madam, when you were younger, you used to walk a little brisk. Now because you are older, your rate of walking has come down. And then I explained to her what I meant by this. What could I do? She asked me. You see, I said, Madam, if I was as intelligent as I am now, I would have asked you to fold your hair and put it here in the form of a bun, and that we would not have calculated the pendulum. Physical appearance becomes very, very important because your physical appearance distracts the students. Please note. You know, some of us when we are teaching, we always put our hands in our pocket. You have seen that? Men. You keep on playing with your pocket. That becomes a source of attraction to the student. Some teachers always. And these ladies, if the hair is falling down, it has not happened with anybody. You know, they have got a tendency to push it up. Now, these are the things which catch the attention of the student. You know how physical appearance is important? Please do not go to the class very heavily jeweled. Don't wear too much of jewels because students will observe it. Men, don't go to the class with cargos. You know what are cargos? Don't go to the class with cargos. Don't go to the class with multicolored belt. Don't go to the class with collarless shirts. Never go to the class with a t-shirt and a jeans. I have nothing against the dress, please note. Because a teacher should look like a teacher. I can give a corollary example. You go to a temple in the Vijayawada Kanakadurga temple. A temple, you see a pujari, and the pujari is wearing safari and safari like me. Will you get bhakti there? What is wrong? Suppose the safari is the newest safari which was bought yesterday. That pujari will be wearing the dhoti and angavastra which he has not washed at all. But this is much better. But do we get bhakti there? Because we expect a pujari to appear like a pujari. In a church, you expect a pastor or what you call a father to appear like that. Similarly, I want a teacher to appear like that. You know, you must have seen these reality shows, in films television law. You have seen these actors and actresses and musicians and all those people. When they come, you will be surprised. You having not seen them, you think they are very, very glamorous. But when they come, the type of dress they are wearing, you will be wondering, is he a beggar or what? I have seen such reality shows. But there it is all right for them. But can you do it? No, you can't do it. Because it indicates you as a teacher, you must look like a teacher. That is why when I come here, you must look like a teacher. If I don't look like, if I look like somebody, then the personality is also emotional characteristic. Somebody said, sir, he is somebody who has got passion for teaching. See, when you have got passion, time? Okay, I'll just take another time, sir. Suresh, is it time? Okay, I'll just take 2-3 minutes and so. See, if you have got passion for teaching, when I love my teaching, what is the josh with which I come? How much do I put as a process of plan because I love it, because I like the task. Now we come to the class because we have got to go to the class. Here we are wondering, why is it 4 o'clock, why is it 10 o'clock, I say, I have to go to the class. How I wish there is no class. That happens when you have no passion. Develop that passion for teaching. Develop that love for teaching. Social characteristics, somebody said, you are a good teacher provided you have not been biased to students. Very, very important characteristic. In fact, in a class like this, 70 students are there, not all the 70 are alike. Some are good, some are not good, some like me, some don't like me, some understand me, some don't understand me. Okay, but because she is the daughter of the principal's friend's friend, I should not treat her softly, whereas she comes from another village, I will be very harsh. This bias, impossible. In fact, you will be surprised, when I was studying in Manasa State, Mysore, the Prince of Mysore, Shrikanta Datta Narasimharaja Vadiyar, was a student of the university. He was our classmate. But in the classroom, he was a prince. Every day, he used to come in a Rolls-Royce vehicle, and in that royal car he was coming. And the driver used to open the door, and the car would be ready exactly at 4 o'clock when the class was over. But once he came to the class, he is not a prince, he is like you and me. So, whether it is the chairman's son, daughter, wife sitting, or the president's son, daughter, wife sitting, or the son, daughter, wife sitting, please treat everybody alike. And please note, one of the greatest qualities of a student is they will correctly know whether you are biased or not. Whether you are biased or not. Learn the art of seeing everybody in the classroom. I don't know whether you have noticed it. I not only look at this side, but I also concentrate on that side. Why do I do it? Suppose I begin to only look at this side. By the time I go, these fellows would have said, oh, this fellow only likes girls. Or if I only looked at them, these ladies would say, this fellow is afraid of ladies. You would say, I like them. They would say, he is afraid of them. See, even the way I look at people in the class indicates whether I am biased or not. Some people, we always look at only the first 2 benches. Kada. We keep on doing it. That is also a bad thing to do. Finally, there are characteristics like teaching competencies. In micro presentation you are doing it. I'm sorry, for want of time I am not able to, I think you have got another presentation now. Because of want of time I am not able to go further. All that I was trying to talk to you was about the quality of teaching and 1 or 2 characteristics.